Hey guys, Fairy Den Homestead here. So we buried Bridget today. I'm gonna miss her. She was a good dog. We had to have her euthanized. She became violently possessive of me and was getting aggressive with the pregnant dog and the puppy and the cat and starting to be towards the kids, and she's killed 7 birds. It's been a rough week on the homestead, you guys, after having to dispatch those birds the other day and then having to bury Bridget. It's been really hard. I wasn't really even sure I was going to do the video, but I think it should be talked about, and better now while I have it all in my head than later. So the issue we had with Bridget is a resource guarding issue. It's not an issue we really had with her before, but she hit puberty and kind of was coming into herself for the last couple of months, and she's been more frequently challenging the other dogs when I'm around, but most worrisome was when we got the puppy and she started to attack him just out of nowhere, and we couldn't figure out why. And then the other day I realized when he came to the door and tried to come in, she attacked him. So I figured out then that it was her guarding me, basically. And then this morning she attacked the pregnant female over food, even though it wasn't breakfast time yet. And then attacked my cat over me, even though he was nowhere near me. So this is a resource guarding issue. She basically saw me as her most important comfort resource, which is it's not really a good thing. You want your LGD to be bonded to you, but you don't really want them to be regarding you as the most important comfort source they have. That's just my opinion. My other 2 dogs don't regard me that way, and they do just fine at their job, and they're perfect with the family and everything. In this case, we knew there was a history of resource guarding on the father's end that was a little less than desirable, but it was with food, and so I assumed, deal with the food resource guarding, everything would be fine, and we did. And we never had any issues with Bridget with food, not with people or anything. So this was not, I just want to say this wasn't a decision that was made lightly. I've been working with her really hard, with her training with the birds, with her training with people. As soon as I saw this becoming a problem, I, tried everything I could to help her. And it just nothing that we did was working, nothing. And she was becoming really dangerous. And again, it's not something I did just because, I don't feel like dealing with it or anything like that. Like, I loved that dog. This has not been an easy day. At all. But it came down to the safety of everybody else versus the safety of her, or versus her, basically. And that's where we had to draw the line. We have kids on this property, guys. I have a son and a daughter, and my godson lives here, and my ex, his wife, their son, that's who lives next door in this house behind me. And then in the other house is where my husband, my daughter, and our son, the son I share with my ex-husband, we all live there. We all share this property. She was, aggressively attacking the house dogs. She grew up with all of these dogs. She grew up with all of these people. She has been well socialized. Every training technique I had in my book had been completely exhausted, and then some that I had never tried before. The only other choice I had was put a collar on her, a shock collar, or send her to somebody else. And I'm going to tell you why those were not good options. First of all, the shock collar. This breed is extremely intelligent. They remember everything. Everything. If you spray your dog with water as a punishment when they're a puppy, they will remember that all the way until the day they die, and probably won't want anything to do with running water ever again. So shocking a dog of this breed is just not acceptable. You can cause that dog to become a really dangerous dog. So aside from putting a shock collar on her, we could have given her to someone, you might say. Not necessarily. With this breed, there is a lot of bonding that happens. That bonding is really important for me as the farmer and the dog, for us to be able to communicate even without words, and for the job to get done, and for me to be safe and the dog to be safe. If I can't trust her to be safe with me or my kids or my livestock in a home where she's been raised her entire life with absolutely correct training her entire life, then it's not exactly an acceptable option for me to give her to somebody else. That would be risking the other person being injured, or their livestock being injured, or their children being hurt. And I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to send off a dog that I know could be dangerous to the person I'm giving them to. I'm just not willing to do that. I don't want somebody else to get hurt. So as much as it sucked, that's why we had to do what we had to do. Again, since this animal is so big and powerful, it was important that the safety is considered for everybody. These are big, powerful animals. She could rip a kid's arm off if she so wanted to. I'm not saying that she would have, but I'm also telling you that I could no longer trust that she wouldn't. And she was becoming really dangerous and possessive towards me, which meant the next step would have been her refusing to completely listen to me in general, and then my children becoming injured. Sorry, pup here was chewing something he wasn't supposed to be. And then my children becoming injured, or dead. I can't have that, and I can't have a dog on the property that could cause that. So we had to say goodbye to Bridget today, and that's just what it is. And it's been a really unpleasant day, and I'll say this goes back to breeding. And today I think that's all I want to talk about, really, about it. It goes back to breeding. We did everything we could, and we couldn't help her. And sometimes it's the dog, and sometimes it's the owner. And in this case, I exhausted everything I knew how to do and things I didn't know how to do. I talked to tons of people to try and fix it, and people with more experience than me, and nothing that was done was making the situation any better. And if we hadn't done what we did, if she hadn't been, euthanized today, she most likely would have killed that puppy, the puppy we have, or the puppies that my other dog is about to give birth to. She could have killed the other dog. She could have killed the cats. She could have killed the kids, or hurt them. And that because she's so dangerous, but she's also so large, and I should say not dangerous, powerful. She was very powerful. She was displaying really dangerous behaviors. and becoming dangerous. As the days went on, she was getting more and more bold and more dangerous, and that was the problem. And I hate it. Y'all, I hate it. I'm gonna miss that dog so much. She used to come out and have my coffee with me. She'd go do the rounds with me. I love that dog. I loved that dog. But, you know, I had to make a choice, and the choice I made was my family and my children, you know, and that sucks, but it's kind of the way it is when you farm, you guys. You just, sometimes you have to make those crap decisions, and this is one of those crap decisions you have to make as a farmer. Just another thing this year that was a huge learning experience, and a hard lesson in kind of what it takes to do this job, raise these dogs. Well, sad news, you guys. Farragut Homestead out.